Welcome to Wisdom Exchange TV. My name is Suzanne F. Stevens, host and co-producer of Wisdom Exchange TV. We interview women leaders all over Africa, and we are with a leading lady today, Christine Asiko. She's the founder and CEO of Strive International. You just won an award for TIAW for education. What has been the most significant impact you feel you've made to your career to date?
I'll give you a bit of background. So when there was a new constitution, they thought, okay, we're going to revamp a lot of things. Education was one of them, health, amongst others. And they then decided on a task force, and they came out, and the task force did some work, I think, for about a year. They produced a report. And only then did the Ministry of Education say, hello, we haven't checked with everybody how we feel about, how they feel, what they think about these suggestions that you're making. And so we very quickly jumped onto that, and once again found my own money, set up a workshop, invited people. In Kenya, there's something that I'm going to take advantage and talk about here because it completely riles me. Whenever anybody attends a conference, they expect to be paid for it. So it's not I am going in to learn. It's actually I'm going in to learn, but guess what? Can you also give me some pocket money while we're at it? So anyway, had one of those, got ideas, put them together in a folder. And the next question was then, how do we get them to the right people? How do we get them to the key influencers? And we did that. And we were very pleased that a lot of the recommendations in our report went into the Education Act as it sits today. And so that for me is huge.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah. And I think that's part of why I'm getting this award. It's around the fact that we were able to make a national contribution.
There is a philosophy, and I'm trying to run conferences in Africa right now, so that paying to participate, pay to participate. And it is so foreign to me to be paid to participate. Now, as a professional speaker, I pay to speak, to educate, but that's my area of expertise.
Right.
But to be paid to actually participate, there's African businesswomen all over Africa who've said, save some money and pay for yourself.
Right.
And it's on Wisdom Exchange TV. We have many interviews saying exactly what you've just said, because those are the women that I interview. The ones who pave their own way to success, not the ones who are getting somebody else to pay for them.
Because then it's no longer your agenda.
No, it's no longer your agenda, and the reality is you're not committed. It's your dime. Absolutely. You're committed to the outcome of being in Washington or being in Ethiopia, wherever you
need to be.
Yeah. So if there was one thing that you would attribute your success to, part of your personality, an opportunity, or a parent, whatever that is, what would it be?
Because I don't overthink things and I don't analyze them, I will do it. I have to say, when I'm in the middle of it, I'm thinking, oh shucks, how did I get here? and how do I get out of it? And but that's the one thing that gets me to start. And I think a lot of more logical people are hampered by the fact that they don't necessarily, they think it's so much so that the idea ceases to exist.
To date, what is the most rewarding aspect of your career?
It's been my personal growth within the career. I've had to dig deep into who I am and what really matters and why. And I think that's a great thing to be able at the end of the day writing your own eulogy, so to say. So that has been the most rewarding in terms of the external the external rewards. It's people coming to me and saying, "Oh my goodness, Christine, I get it. I'm fine. It's not me. You've demystified this whole burden I've carried for so many years, thinking I was either foolish or I was lazy or I was this or actually there is this condition, and it's okay." That really touches me each time.
What's the most significant decision you have made in your career?
Going for it, however uncomfortable it is. And I'll give you an example. In fact, it's funny that it's the highlight of my life at the moment, but also, so the fact that we did get our recommendations into the Education Act in Kenya today is amazing. But it's very interesting that at the particular time, I had gone in for a different meeting. I was in Nairobi for a different meeting. And at the end of the day, the last day, I called up my dad and hi, how are you? And we work very closely. He's in education as well, and has been for many, many years. He's written books on curriculum, and so we work very closely. And I say, I'm here, and he says, oh, we've really missed an opportunity, Christine. I say, what is it? And he says, well, there's a national conference on the task force's work, and we've gone and had this workshop. We've written a report, and now we've missed an opportunity to present it. And I think, really? Okay, well, let's leave it at that. I don't say to him what I'm planning to do. And when I get onto Google, there is no advertisement for this conference, okay? And it's day 2 or 3 or something. But I get up in the morning, I drop everything that I was supposed to be doing, and I go to the conference, where I'm promptly stopped at the door. Because who are you? You're not on the list, you are not invited, and we don't know Strive International. So who are you again? And I'm able to charm these ladies at the door. I can't remember what I said, but I got in. And then the next issue then is that we have heavyweights in education in Kenya sitting right there up front. I think, right, I have this report. Nobody knows me. What do I do? And I ask for a microphone, like I'm going to ask a question. And I think, yeah, what do you do? Because I think as we're going along, so, okay, microphone's on its way. I'll say, well, what do you do? I stand up and I say, hello, my name is Christine, and I'm representing the diaspora from South Africa. And all of a sudden, that is, at the time I lived in South Africa, that is of interest, because guess what? And I think, well, and then I present what it is I want to say and what the work is. And I commit them to taking my report on the spot. I say, after he listens, oh, well done, they say, so can I please come right there and give you the report now? And, like someone would propose to you in public, you can't quite say no. They didn't say no. I got it. I got up. I gave it to the minister. I gave it to the chairman of the task force. I had only 3 copies, and I don't know what I did with the 3rd one. But bottom line, it's that sort of thing about me, not thinking through and just being flexible.
That's called diving in. I don't know about flexible so much. That's finding yourself in the deep end and say, swim!
Or you drown.
What would you say the biggest challenge is that you've overcome? And this can be personal or professional.
It's myself. My biggest challenge that I've overcome is myself. It's so easy for each one of us to have a dream and to get in the way of the dream, simply because we're shy, or we want to conform, or we don't want to look silly, and that has been me. Many times, I'll give you an example. I cannot believe that I traveled, got into a hotel, booked in, spent the night, and I'm going to mingle all alone. When at age 20, 21, I couldn't walk into a restaurant alone. I just couldn't. It was demeaning. Only prostitutes did that. That's the kind of information I'd been given. And if you're going to sit to have a cup of tea, you're waiting to be picked up, and all that and all that and all that. So the transformation from somebody who couldn't walk into a burger house or something, that's what it used to be called, to someone who can walk, travel, and get into a hotel room and go into a meeting and not necessarily know anyone, and sit in front of you for an interview. It's chalk and cheese, these 2 people. And so getting out of the way of the work that I need to do has been my greatest achievement.
Which, leads us nicely right into that edginess segment I was talking about.
Right.
One thing that you have to do, perhaps over and over and over again, or had to do it once, but often over and over again, that pushes the edge of your comfort zone.
Yes.
But you have to do it, or else you would not achieve the success that you've achieved.
Absolutely.
What is that one thing for you?
And I think you would really can connect with this. You know when it really gets scary? Because you've made a promise to people. In my case, it's a school. In my mind, it's redefining education. And I've committed to it. And half the time I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? Where am I going to get the funding? How will I run? All those questions. So the edginess is actually thinking, I can't look back. I can't, it's irrelevant where I'm going. Half the time I don't know where I'm going. I'll be very honest with you. I said that earlier, I don't think through things, so I don't know where I'm going. So, and it gets uncomfortable because you will have the more logical people saying to you, why are you wasting our time? I have faced rejection many times when I present an issue because it's not their agenda, it's mine. But I think for me, it doesn't matter how scared I am. I will get up and I'll show up. I may not know what's going to go on when I get there, but the one thing I do is show up.
What's interesting about what you're saying is the emphasis is on the commitment.
I guess so. Yeah.
It's once you've made the commitment. I think you're my sister.
Hallelujah.
We were talking about this last night.
Yes.
My husband and I over dinner is about a lot of things I'm involved in. I make a commitment,
yes.
which has caused me a lot of stress.
I'm sure.
Because I have to see the commitment through.
Yes.
Or I wouldn't have made the commitment.
Yes. Yes.
And it's such a value.
Yes.
That I respect. That being said, it also gets lines under my eyes. But it's your edginess, is that commitment that you every day you have to push that through.
Yes.
Regardless of what you have to find yourself in the middle of.
Absolutely.
The deep end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, if there is anything though that you could do differently, what would that be?
That's a very good question. If there's anything that I could do differently, I'm not sure. So, would I do it again? Yes. Would I do it differently? Perhaps. And I want to say I would rally more people around me before I start. But then again, if you haven't tested the waters ahead of anybody else, what waters are you talking about? So that I have to say I'm not sure what I would do differently.
But that's an interesting perspective. At the same time, is getting... Dyslexia is not new.
No.
It may just be new to Kenya and some of the African continent.
Right.
Rallying people on maybe the other side of the pond.
Yes.
Now that being said, other side of the pond that are interested in Africans also benefiting from that.
Right.
Which I also get, because
Yes.
I'm having that same challenge.
Right.
Where Africans get what I'm doing.
Yes.
People in Canada, US, and Europe appreciate what I'm doing.
Yes.
Doesn't mean they're going to support what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Very different things.
Very different things. Because it's your agenda, it's not theirs. And the Africans, we sign up for it because, yes, it will be beneficial. And you can see that. I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you're a visionary, you've got to pull everybody along, even when they don't know where you're going. And usually the ones that you're pulling along are the ones who are kicking and screaming. And when you get it wrong, in the meantime, before they can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel, whilst you're all in the tunnel, you face abuse, you face... abuse wouldn't be, all the words that I'm sure we can't say and record, but mental abuse and mental, look at you failed and you didn't think about it, and that's because you're comfortable anyway, and stuff like that. And you
things that are pulling down your vision.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But as a visionary, you keep going, and you keep going.
So that's a great segue to, what does success mean to you?
I'm aware that redefining education will not necessarily be within my lifetime. But success for me would be if I have structures in place. So if, for example, the three different aspects that I want to touch on, awareness and then knowledge building and actually developing products, if I don't see the greatest product at the end of the day, but I have put in a structure that will end up with the greatest product, then I'll be fine with that. So within my lifetime, it's about putting in place firm structures, putting in place a number of people who can carry on with the agenda after I'm gone.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much.
of
Thank you.
wisdom.
And thank you for this opportunity.
Well,
Thank
thanks for
you.
joining us. This is